It's interesting, when we consummated the sale, 3216 Dothan, I sold it to my buyer, and he was a great guy, loved the property. About a month or two later, Steve and I meet over at the butcher shop. He says, I got something for you, something that you can pass on, kind of the pièce de résistance of this particular deal. Turns out he had the original blueprints for the house back in 1962 or something like that. They were all rolled up. So he gave me those blueprints. I went ahead and shipped them off to the buyer, just kind of as a little extra added bonus. So interesting. 3216 Dothan. Now, every Tuesday for our members, we send out something called a Tuesday Tidbit. And this is basically information that circulates around this network just by being in the real estate business. Anytime there's a little nugget of information that we think can help people, we go ahead and construct an email and send it out to our members list. And this week, this is a good one. It's on rent protection. And this actually came from Steve. Steve and I talked about this a couple days ago. But there's a new program out called Aon Rent Protect. And this is the website, gotrentprotection.com. And what it does is it's basically like almost like an insurance policy for lost rent. So it will reimburse you in the event that you're going through an eviction and you're losing rent. So you can get monthly reimbursement for lost rent income up to 6 months and up to $1,000 in legal fees paid out to you for the eviction costs. Now, the premium for this program is somewhere around $250 a year, but it's definitely worth checking out. So this is a website, if you are a landlord, buy and hold investor, worth checking out as far as rent protection is concerned. So look for our Tuesday tidbits if you're a member. Yes?
Do you know anybody who's used it so far?
Steve, do you know anybody who's used this?
I got it from Michael. He knows some people who use it.
Michael, do you know somebody?
We have it, we just haven't used it.
You just haven't used it.
I did check on Aon a little bit, and apparently Aon is like the largest insurance broker in the world. They're a European company, and they just brought this product to the United States, I don't know,
2 years ago?
They've been doing this in the overseas for
20 years, okay.
That's $250 per year.
Yeah.
There's a 1 month deductible too.
And a 1 month deductible? All right.
And that'll take, I think, up to $1,200 in rent, and if your property rents more than that, then the premium's just a little bit higher.
And I think you don't have to do your whole portfolio either. I mean, if you got one problem now, property, you might want to take it on there.
Just put it on one. Be selective about which property.
You don't have to do your whole portfolio.
Right. 20 properties, 18 of them are good. The 2 that are bad, you can put this program on the 2 that are bad. Retroactively. All right, pillar number 2, rehabbing. Let's talk about rehabbing for a minute. This is my first flip. Again, going back to my early days as a real estate investor, right offers. I bought this property on Marion Road, great location between Poplar and Park. What happened is I was working with a realtor at that time. I was not actively involved in MIG yet. This is still early days. So realtor brings me this lead. I go out to the property, look at it. It's a house that the owner just kind of let get away from her, but basically a cosmetic rehab. So we were contemplating the offer. She told me, you need to offer $95,000 in order to get this house. I ran my numbers and I said, let's offer $85,000. She said, okay, I'll submit the offer. We won't get it, but I'll go ahead and write the offer anyway. Writes the offer for $85,000. 3 days later, calls me up and says, you're never going to believe this, but they accepted your offer. So I bought this property. Had no idea how to rehab a house, didn't know anything about paperwork. I just went on the recommendation that she gave me, hired a contractor, started working, got 2/3 of the way through the project, and then he started to slow down. Long story short, he didn't finish. I had to let him go, and a 2-month rehab dragged out into 5 months, and it was a very stressful experience. Had to hire another contractor again, made a rookie mistake. He asked me for his last check so he could quote-unquote pay some bills. Being the nice guy that I am, I paid him. Week later, showed up at the house after he promised me it was going to be all done, and he hadn't done one damn thing in the last week. And that was a heartbreaking moment. So here's how this deal breaks down. I paid $85,000 for this house. Keep in mind, it's a cosmetic rehab that should be done in 4 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks. I paid $29,288 in rehab costs. If this number seems a little high, it's because it is. Yeah. In addition to that, I paid another $8,700 in miscellaneous costs. So that's a total of $123,000 that I'm into this property. And I'm only a couple of weeks away from that loan expiring. My plan was to be all in at 110, sell it for 130, make 20 and move on. So I'm looking at escaping this deal. My dad was working with me on this property. He knows nothing about real estate, but he's really good with people. So he builds a buyer's list of 50 people, and he gets this thing sold for $145,000 to a cash buyer who gave me a $5,000 earnest money check. $21,981 in net profit. Not bad for a screw up. I always tell people in my first rehab I made a $22,000 mistake. I only made $22,000 when I could have made $40,000. What are you going to do? So that's my first rehab. Here's the check I collected. When you're working a job that's turning you into an axe murderer and you collect a $30,000 check, you get some religion real quick in real estate investing, let me tell you. This business is real, all right? You can make a lot of mistakes, but if you buy correctly, you're going to do all right. You make your money, the lessons learned from the Marion deal, you make your money in real estate when you buy. The other lesson I learned on this Marion deal, sometimes in life it's better to be lucky than good. I certainly was lucky.